Talking about football changing, some things
Oh,
don't change. Newcastle United 2, Brentford 3.
yeah.
Now, I did not watch the game, so I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna give you the keys. Here are the keys.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you, mate.
take the wheel, steer in the direction you want.
Yeah, just same shit, different game, to be honest. It's a struggle. I think again, like it looks like a close game on paper, but when you watch the game, like we scored a penalty and a set piece, like from open play, we have nothing. Um, and I don't want to come on here every week and slate Howe, but we'll talk about what he came out and said after the game in a bit. Some quotes came out about how he's feeling, and it doesn't really sound good at the
Mm.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like the players aren't fighting for him anymore. And, could that just be a case of they're playing a lot of games, which they are? We have an incredibly tight schedule and tough run of fixtures. Our last three games have been Brentford, Villa, Liverpool, and City. So like
Yep.
we
Mm-hmm.
we've been under it a little bit, but it's just not working, Eddie. It's just not working anymore. And I think that he did go for it at 2-0. Oh, sorry, when we went down to 2-1, he did go for it. He kept Visser on, played Voltemada behind him. I like Voltemada playing there because he gets more of the ball, but it's just not his position. He is a number nine. He doesn't play in the 10 spot. You've got to play your number. Your number nine has to be the focal point of your team, I think, and you build around that. You can't build around any other position besides your nine or your 10. So either build around a team around him at nine, or sign a 10 to play behind him. I think.
Yeah.
I think we concede 3 goals to Brentford at home. Listen, they have the most points secured since God knows how long. I think they've got second for most points secured behind Arsenal in a certain time period. Like they're playing really well, essentially, and they've picked up a lot of points. As soon as it kicked off, Brentford just took possession, calmed down the game, and we have got a supposedly great midfield that right now looks confused. Doesn't feel like they have the same energy that they used to, and it's a shame because you've got players like Lewis Hall, Bruno Guimaraes, who you really feel like are really trying, and you feel like it's just not coming off for them. And then you've got players like Jacob Murphy, who for some reason is back into the squad after being injured for 3 weeks, and then Alanga's had some of his best performances in the past 3 weeks, and then as soon as Jacob Murphy's fit again, you take Alanga off and start Murphy. It just baffles me a little bit.
Mm.
I don't really get it. I mean, Murphy looked completely out of his depth when he came on. I just think that the writing is on the wall, and now it's looking more likely that there's going to be a change in summer. And I think Eddie knows it, coming off the recent statements in the press conference. Do you have them?
Yes, let's go over these quotes. I mean, they caused a stir on social media after the game. Even I was a bit surprised by what he said. So he said, "There's a harsh reality for me. I need to think long and hard about me. I need to work better and do more. Work out solutions. I need to take full responsibility for what you see on the pitch. I always feel
Yep.
under pressure, so it's relevant to me. The pressure I put on myself couldn't be more extreme. I'm obviously not doing my job well enough. It's a difficult moment for us. There's no denying it. Today we have to take full accountability." We did
Yeah.
say last week that he's too positive after games.
Yeah.
This maybe is going a bit too much the other way.
Listen, you have to put your hands up and say Eddie Howe conducts himself as exactly how a manager should. I think
Okay.
he is like the prime example of how to conduct yourself in a modern game as a manager. And I think him coming out and saying it's just not good enough from me, I need to do more. He did say he was like, I can't question my efforts because I try. Like his efforts cannot be questioned. He said something like that. And it's true. Like he's the first one in and the last one out at the training ground and at HQ. And it's a shame because it sounds like an old man when he tries to play sports and he just realizes he hasn't got it anymore. That's how it sounds. It's like it's a harsh reality check for him. And it's like, is it him tactically? Is it that he needs to instill more in the players? I think it's a bit of both. I think tactically, he's been quite found out. We have teams just come and sit in a low block against Newcastle and know that, we're not really going to create much outside of a corner or a penalty shout, which is exactly what happened against Brentford. And yeah, then conceding like 5 goals to City, not even like it's rough. It is really rough, and I think that my only issue with this is who do you bring in when Eddie Howe goes? Because the club is built around Eddie Howe. Like, the staff are built around him. The recruitment strategy is all built around him. And I know that managers change and things come in, but I think it would be really, if we swapped managers, it would still be a really big transitional season where the players will be learning to play a different style that they've been with Eddie Howe for 4 5 years now. Is it
Yeah,
4 years?
yeah, yeah.
He's
I
the
think
third
yeah.
longest reigning manager in English football right now. So he's really set his roots at the club. So who do you bring in then to change things up without changing things too much for some of the players, if that makes sense? Because Bruno is just, it's Eddie Howe ball is going to be instilled in him. And he's a good enough player to play a different style of football. But it just like, if you're the board right now, who, and you're thinking, the fucking hell, the decision's made, right? We're going to get rid of Eddie at the end of the season. You have 2 choices to put on the table. Who are your 2 options?
Two like realistic ones.
Realistic options. Because think about it. Like, we had Bruce, right? We've
Yeah.
then stepped up to Eddie Howe. The next manager needs to be like our Pep. Do you know what I mean? Like, if Howe was our Mancini, we need a Pep now. So who's gonna take Newcastle to that next level?
I mean, I think if you have two, you need to take one Premier League proven, at least one Premier League proven name.
Yeah,
And if you go through the list of managers, you've got who? Marco Silva, Iriola, who else? You could throw De Zerbi in there. I mean, he's
Glasner.
been in the Premier League. Glasner is the big one. I
Yeah,
think he would have to be the leading name. He's saying he's going to leave. I think that he could go to Newcastle. I don't know if it'd be a good fit. I don't know if it would work, but I can see that happening. And then if you go over to Europe, I don't know. Do you go and get like, I mean, not in terms of performance, but an Amorim type, done well in European leagues? Can he do it in the Premier League? From my personal experience, I would advise against that. I would stick
yeah,
to Premier League proven. I'd say Glasner is probably the best. I mean,
yeah.
he's not the world
He's
class or
nothing
anything.
revolutionary. Let's be
Yeah,
honest. Like, he is just from what we've seen, he's a manager who doesn't take shit. That's one thing I
yeah,
like. Like, he's
yeah,
very much like, he knows what he wants. He'll call the board out if he's not getting what he wants, like he did at Palace.
yeah, yeah.
But he doesn't play like necessarily like a super exciting style of football. He's not super attacking based. He's
I mean, he leans on. One thing you will get with him is he leans on individual brilliance when he needs it. He had a team with
yeah,
Elise, Eze,
Zaha.
yeah, he had Zaha at one point, Mateta. Like, he's had these players. So,
Yeah,
I mean, he can. And he's developed Adam Wharton, which you have to give him
yeah,
credit for from the
that's true.
academy. Gahey was in that team as well. He improved him. So he seems, him slash his coaching staff do a good job because they brought
Hmm.
Palace to their peak, which they were pushing and knocking on the door on for 10 years. They made the FA Cup final in 2016. They lost to us. They made it last year and they beat City.
Yeah,
Like, he can do it. And I think he needs a platform to try it. And I think Newcastle would be foolish if they were looking at Premier League names and they didn't go for him. I
yeah.
would I would say if you got Howe out, I'd be excited with Glasner. Do you think
I
that too?
wouldn't. I wouldn't hate it. I'm very much, especially with football. I always say like I try not to be reactive, as the majority of football fans can be. So with this
Mm.
whole How Out saga, it's been very much, I've been biding as much time as I can before it's starting to get to the point where I'm starting to now question Eddie Howe. Things have gone stagnant. You can bring in Glasner. You could go unknown. You could go, let's get somebody who's not even been in the Prem. Let's get Fabregas or somebody like that. If the board want to take a risk like that, I honestly, in some ways, I would prefer that over Glasner a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
Listen, like, I know we talk a lot of stuff about Arteta, right? Arteta had not had a coaching job. Well, it was at City under Pep, but he has not had a managerial position before Arsenal. Am I right in saying that?
Yep. Yep.
And he's built Arsenal into the terrorist football club that it is nowadays. But they're probably going to win the league, and
Yeah.
that's down to Arteta if they do. So do you bring in somebody from abroad like a Fabregas who plays like a really specific type of attacking football? Or do you go for, I don't know, maybe you go for Tuchel if Tuchel drops out of the World Cup squad? If we don't qualify for not qualify, but we get knocked out in the semi-finals, he's on a 1-year contract.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
mean, he'll definitely be up for it if England don't win the World Cup. But you need to qualify for Europe. You need to. There's a lot of, because I think you miss out on Europe, or even miss out on
yeah,
Champions League. That's a number of names that
you
aren't going
miss
to be
out on
in
the
the
elite
hat.
managers.
Yeah, or even
Yeah,
Fabregas might get more attractive offers to Champions League or Europa League clubs across Europe, because he's exciting. I like the football that
yeah,
Como, or I mean, I don't watch the full games, but what I've seen from the highlights, I
yeah.
like what he's about. I like the philosophy. There's a number of ways you can go, and I think that Newcastle team already, the one in front of Howe, yes, they've been there for a few years, but you have enough to build on.
Yeah, yeah.
You can Elanga's
There's a
not being
team
used to
there.
his full
There's a
potential.
t-
Yeah,
there's a team there that could easily qualify for Europe,
yes, but
like undoubtable.
definitely. And Bruno Gomares is probably the only one there who you could argue could leave and go on to better things because he's earned it, not because he
Mm.
wants to do it. But if I don't know, if a top team came in for him this summer, I wouldn't be surprised. Tonali linked with
Yeah,
United, apparently.
linked with Arsenal, United. Yeah, linked with moves to Juventus. It's a tough time. This summer is going to be way bigger than last summer because we have a lot of money to play with. I have a feeling that if Howe goes, Tonali will go. Because it makes sense. Tonali seems like his agent's playing around with the idea of leaving.
Yeah,
If that's what you want to do, get rid of him this summer, cash in while you can. 85 million, I'd be happy with.
that's fair.
And just build on everything in the summer.
Paul Mitchell, obviously pushed out of the club for
Yes,
saying
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
Eddie Howe signings weren't fit for purpose. Are those words kind of coming more true every week?
It's
Was it?
raining true right now. I mean,
Mm,
that is not Eddie Howe's fault, though, I think.
not
You
fully.
know, if the club is not built to sign and recruit new players in the most effective way, the manager's going to take control of that, I think. And listen, like Alanga, no, shouldn't have spent 50 million on or 45 plus 5. Wissa, no, definitely not 55 million on Vissa.
Yeah.
That was again though, we were sort of pushed to that point. I think it's clear to see that before this window, you couldn't name me a transfer that had gone poorly, I think. If you can try and think of one right now, just a Newcastle transfer since Eddie Howe's come in that's not turned out good.
No, I mean, away from injuries, no, I don't think so.
So I think Eddie Howe was put in a really tight spot in summer. And I think that while I agree with what Paul Mitchell said, Paul Mitchell was also useless. Right? Right. And I understand him and Eddie Howe didn't get along well, but like you don't come into a club and instantly just say, oh, this is not fit, like this is wrong, You shouldn't be doing this. Of course, you're going to make problems doing that. Okay, like I think Ross Wilson has come in with the right attitude. We had money to play with in January, but they
Yeah.
didn't want to sign anybody. Probably to save the money for summer when, signings can have more time. They can have a full preseason. They can research the players they want before. But with this summer, they have to be spending on the first day. I think you really have to get, like Eddie Howe said last summer, he said we need to do business as soon as we can to
Hmm.
get them in, get a full preseason into these players. Because when you don't have a preseason and you're in three different competitions over the year, your League Cup, your Premier League, your Carabao Cup, and then your Champions League possibly or Europa. If you don't have preseason, like you're looking at Johan Visser now, you're looking at him struggle with sharpness because he's not had the time to really get that match sharpness back.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he
that's
didn't
true.
have a preseason, and he had that horrible injury. So there are caveats to this how in how out thing, and I just think like we just need to find the right balance. I think it's honestly safer to keep Howe for another year and let him spend than to fire him and give a new manager the reins to sign who they want to, or give the sporting director reins to sign who they want to. That's the safer option, I think, staying with Howe. If you go for another manager, I think it's really risky. You just don't know what you're getting, especially with Newcastle, the money that they've got, the expectations now that Howe is possibly leaving. It's a really, really difficult position for PIF to be in come summertime.
Yeah,
So I think that we're going to see a massive change in Newcastle over the next sort of 4 months. And if it's me, you might laugh at it. I think you look at Glasner. I think you look at your Fabregas. I even think you look at Maresca. Like, and I hate saying that, but you've got to look. You know, you have to interview the managers. You have to see where their minds at, what they want to
Christ.
build. And if that's our only option, fucking Maresca, if that is our option, is he the step up from Eddie Howe? Is he really the step up? I
This
don't know.
guy has been driven to Maresca.
I
You
know.
guys
This
haven't
is how bad
seen.
it's
He
gotten.
does not. He hates Maresca. He doesn't rate him. But I understand. I understand. Let's finish this Newcastle segment with the question I asked. I think I asked you a week or two ago, but because we're not going to be doing an episode now for like 2-3 weeks
Yeah.
until the end of the month. Obviously, you have Karabag in the Champions League,
Hmm.
but in the league and the FA Cup, you've got Tottenham, Villa, City, and then, or to be fair, the Everton game will cover. So these 3 games, you've got Spurs in the league, Villa in the cup, City in the league. How many wins?
0.
Fuck. Are you beating Karabag? Are you getting past Karabag?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we can beat Karabag. I reckon we can draw to Tottenham. I reckon we lose against Villa. And I reckon we lose against City. We'll talk about City now. City have just basically kept themselves in a title race, being 1-0 down away at Anfield. That's crazy. But anyways, yeah, I think that genuinely we'd be lucky to see a win against Tottenham out of those 3 fixtures, to
Fair.
be completely honest.
I think you could go beat Tottenham, but yeah, I mean, apart from that, it's not looking good. It's
No,
it's it's
it's not.
really not. And then we play you at the beginning of March, but we will cover that here. We will talk about that
We
here.
will.